Inside a mansion, a man demands to know the results of his son's skill assessment. His son, Noah Aldaheim, is just 5 years old. A girl nervously replies that Noah's only skill is translation. The Aldaheim family has built a reputation over generations as a powerful magic bloodline. So naturally, everyone expected the eldest son, Noah, to awaken a powerful magic ability. But when Hilgant, the current head of the family, hears about Noah's skill, he's stunned. Confused, he demands to know where Noah's offensive and elemental magic is. Noah, unaware of what's wrong, innocently asks his father, but Hilgant just mutters his name and suddenly slaps him across the face. Noah crashes on the floor and gets injured. Hilgant calls him a disgrace and accuses him of tarnishing the family's name. Noah pleads, but Hilgant cuts him off, declaring that Noah is no longer his son. He storms out, ignoring the woman who tries to stop him. Noah is left crying and apologizing, not understanding what he did wrong. After that day, everything changes. Even the servants start avoiding him. Following a maid through the mansion, Noah watches her flinch and asks to be excused. He's sure his father told everyone to ignore him. Still, he keeps trying to be the best son he can, hoping for approval, but no one responds. Eventually, he turns to the archives, losing himself in books. Reading becomes his escape. One day, he wonders if his translation skill is what allows him to understand the books. As he scans the bookshelf, he realizes he's already finished everything in the room. Feeling down, he steps outside and sits alone, until something catches his eye. He finds what looks like a stone slab. Back in his room, he tries to decode it but can't understand the writing. Comparing the symbols to his own notes, he finally deciphers a message: "Look at the back." When he does, he realizes he needs to archive this discovery too. A month later, Noah finally cracks the stone's puzzle. He's reorganized all the books just as the instructions said. As soon as he finishes, a strange symbol appears and the bookshelf shifts, revealing a hidden passage. Amazed, Noah steps inside. Lights automatically turn on. He guesses they're powered by magic stones. He spots symbols on a door, recognizes the same language from the stone, and reads the words, "The Hidden Archive." Inside, he finds a vast underground library filled with ancient books. It's brightly lit despite being below ground. Noah, thrilled, realizes he hasn't read any of these old texts yet. One book catches his eye, placed right in the center. It's titled Introduction to Ancient Magic. The contents are dense and hard to follow, but he decides to take his time with it. He has plenty of that. Then he remembers his father's words, being disowned, slapped, and called a disgrace. The memory makes him shrink and cry. His skill, translation, had been tossed aside like garbage. What Noah doesn't know is that translation lets its user read any written language in existence. In modern times, it seems useless. But in truth, it holds the power to reshape the world. Because this world was built on words, but Noah still has no idea. Years pass. On his 15th birthday, Noah prepares to leave. His father had told him long ago to get out of the house at this age, and Noah accepted it. Hilgant tells him again that while Noah is the eldest son, he can't inherit the family name without magic. Noah says he understands. Before leaving, he finishes reading one last book. He walks through the mansion one final time and thanks the maids for taking care of him. As expected, they ignore him, but he's grown used to that. Still, he bows deeply and sincerely thanks them. He reflects on how, as a child, he wished someone, anyone, would talk to him. Their silence made him promise never to treat others that way. He admits he might be saying that just for himself. Outside, someone calls out to him. It's Gren, Noah's younger brother, now 13. Gren smugly says Noah's finally been kicked out. Noah greets him calmly. Gren declares he'll take over the family name, boasting that unlike Noah, he has powerful offensive and flame-based magic. Noah agrees. As Gren struts, Noah silently reflects, in this world, everyone is born with magic, but only those with a skill can use it. Modern magic relies on skill activation. Since Noah has no offensive or elemental magic, he can't do any of that. Still, he he tells Gren that even if their mother denies it, they're brothers, and that means they'll miss each other at least a little. But Gren scoffs. He calls Noah the family's failure and says he won't miss him at all. In fact, he's glad to see him go. Noah remembers his father yelling that he's the disgrace of the Aldaheim family. Instead of being upset, he starts laughing and admits to himself that his father might have been right. Gren doesn't understand why Noah is laughing and quickly grows irritated, accusing him of being arrogant despite not being able to use magic. Trying to prove his superiority, Gren activates his flame magic. A fire ignites on his right hand, forming a basic fireball, standard first stage fire magic. He hurls it straight at Noah. Noah calmly watches and counters the spell using breeze magic. The fireball instantly dissipates. Gren is stunned, unable to understand how his magic was cancelled so easily. Noah explains that over the past 10 years, he has been studying ancient magic by translating the runes found in the hidden archive. The process was grueling. Each rune carried multiple meanings, many tied to powerful spells. His translation skill, thought to be useless, allowed him to decipher and harness this forgotten form of magic. Unlike modern magic, which depends on skill activation, ancient magic is built on deep linguistic structure and raw knowledge. By combining his translation skill with relentless study, Noah has unlocked magic that predates the current system, and it works flawlessly against modern techniques. Gren refuses to accept it. Still overwhelmed, he lashes out, insisting that Noah has no right to be here and should disappear. He storms off in frustration. Noah quietly watches his brother leave. They've never been close, and he's disappointed that their farewell ended this way. Turning away from the mansion, Noah begins his journey. All his life, he's been surrounded by books, but now he wants to experience the world for himself. He knows the first thing he'll need is money. To survive and explore, he'll have to find a way to earn a living. He decides that becoming an adventurer is the most practical first step. Noah launches himself into the air using skywalking magic. Hovering above the mansion, he isn't sure how strong he is compared to others in the world, but for now, his first goal is clear: reach the Adventurers Guild. Suspended in the sky, he looks back at the place he once called home. He quietly gives his thanks and then turns away, flying off toward his new future. Back at the mansion, Gren enters his father's study and reports that Noah has finally left. Hilgund acknowledges it with little reaction. He shifts the conversation quickly, informing Gren that the second prince of the Lastia Empire will be visiting soon. As a representative of the family, Gren needs to be well prepared. No one in the household should appear unkempt or unready. Gren accepts the task and leaves the room. Once alone, Hilgund moves to the window and stares outside. He reflects silently, asking Noah not to hate him. In his mind, a child without magic is a failure by Aldaheim standards, and while it pained him, he's relieved Noah is gone. Meanwhile, Noah, now traveling on his own, stops mid-flight. He looks below and identifies the bustling business center of the Aldaheim territory. Deciding to visit, he lands and starts walking through the crowded streets. He quietly takes in the diverse people and lively atmosphere. The last time he was here, he had attended a party with his father. Since then, he's never left the mansion grounds. As Noah walks through the market district, a cheerful vendor calls out to him, offering what he claims are the best sandwiches in the area. Curious, Noah approaches and asks for just one. When the vendor tells him the price is a silver coin, Noah hesitates and apologizes. He only has a single gold coin. Surprised, the shopkeeper wonders if Noah is from a wealthy household. But Noah explains it's the only coin he has. The vendor, still a bit taken aback, accepts the gold and returns 99 silver coins as change, handing over the sandwich. Noah thanks him, noting how the vendor mistook him for a child of the noble Aldaheim family. With that in mind, he decides it's best to avoid staying in the territory for too long. Soon after, Noah sees a carriage rolling by and stops it. The driver says it's heading to Lubloop. Knowing that the head of the Wajist family resides there, and that the town lies to the east, Noah decides to go. He pays the fare and climbs aboard. It's his first time riding a carriage, and he enjoys the experience. The other passengers eye him with curiosity. Noah introduces himself and says he'll be joining them on the journey. As the carriage moves on, one of the passengers asks about his destination. Noah answers that he's heading to Lubloop to register at the Adventurers Guild, aiming to earn money. The passenger agrees it's a wise choice, mentioning that the town's economy is booming. Noah, expressionless at first, soon lights up and shares what he knows. Lubloop's growth began after they found a way to cultivate previously barren land. His knowledge surprises the man, who remarks that not many people know such details. Noah simply explains that he read it in a book. The man introduces himself as Edgar, and explains that he and his two companions are merchants. One of them asks if Noah is interested in hearing stories. Noah agrees, and the merchant begins to share what he knows. As he listens, Noah realizes that hearing stories directly from people feels very different from reading them in books. There's something more vivid, more real, in the way they're told. For the first time, he feels like he's seeing the world properly, through people, places, and experiences. He's glad he chose to ride this carriage. But the peaceful ride doesn't last. The driver suddenly spots something up ahead. The horses grow nervous and start to panic. Edgar immediately asks what's going on. They all spot an empty carriage on the road ahead, and then, from that direction, comes a monstrous roar. Edgar fears the worst and assumes a monster attack. An older passenger identifies the creature as a wind tiger, a high-ranking beast. But according to recent reports, only monsters of D to E rank had been spotted in this area. Something is clearly off. Noah takes in the situation, assessing the threat. It's not what anyone expected. Edgar spots a group of knights already engaging the wind tiger. He tells the others they should use the chaos as a chance to escape. Tension builds inside the carriage as the passengers argue, unsure whether to flee or stay. Edgar, aware of the risk, urges them to leave, explaining that staying will only add to the number of casualties. He looks to Noah and hopes he understands. But Noah doesn't plan on running. He tells them he's going to help. All three passengers are stunned. The old man demands to know why he would throw his life away for strangers. But Noah simply thanks him for his concern. He can't watch people die, especially when he knows what it's like to be alone and helpless. Noah leaps from the carriage. As he lands, he thanks them for the journey and urges them to escape safely. The carriage speeds off, leaving him behind. Up ahead, the wind tiger clashes with the knights. Its roars generate powerful gusts, making it difficult to even stand. Noah recalls from his studies that wind tigers use wind for both mobility and defense. As the beast charges, Noah activates his breeze spell, intercepting the attack before it can reach the knight. The knight, confused, looks around, unaware of Noah's help. Meanwhile, Noah starts provoking the monster, drawing its attention away from the others. The wind tiger locks onto him and lunges. Noah knows the moment it chased him, those people were safe. He narrowly dodges the attack, thinking to himself that while he has no real combat experience with ancient magic, this is the moment to put everything he's learned into action. Just then, the knight hurls his sword at the monster. It lands a direct hit, disrupting the wind tiger's focus. Seizing the opportunity, Noah unleashes an ancient spell, All-Out Blaze. Purple flames engulf the creature, burning through its defenses. With a final roar, the wind tiger is consumed and vanishes. A girl nearby watches in awe at the sight of Noah's purple fire. As Noah lands, he expresses quiet relief at his victory. The girl approaches, thanking him for saving them during such a critical moment. Noah apologizes if he overstepped by interfering. He turns to leave. But the girl calls out, asking him to wait. She wants to properly thank him for saving her life. She explains they are heading to Aldaheim, and asks if he'd like to join them. When he hears the destination, Noah hesitates. He declines, saying he's just glad everyone is safe. As he walks away, the girl asks for his name. He tells her. She softly repeats it to herself, and the knight steps in to let her know their horse is ready. She nods and replies that they can leave whenever. After saying his goodbyes, Noah places his hands together and activates a spell. A magical aura surrounds him, and in an instant, he vanishes using spatial transportation. The girl, confused, calls out to him, but he's already gone. Realizing what happened, she notes that Noah must be a high-class magician. She's left with a strange feeling, thinking she's seen his face somewhere before. Meanwhile, Noah lands safely in a barren landscape. The teleportation takes a heavy toll on his magic reserves, and he acknowledges how demanding the spell truly is. Still, despite the strain, he feels fulfilled. It was the first time someone thanked him. And knowing that his translation skill helped people, even indirectly, fills him with pride. With renewed purpose, he decides to continue his journey to Lubloop. Back at the Aldheim estate, Hilgen hosts a group of important guests. He respectfully bows and thanks them for coming, addressing Claudia with the proper title of Highness. Claudia, the second princess of the Lastia kingdom, responds graciously, expressing her appreciation for the warm welcome. Gren, watching from the side, is visibly excited. Claudia is exactly his type, and he sees her presence as a perfect opportunity. Hilgent, observing his son, shares the sentiment: if Gren were to get engaged to the princess, it would elevate the family's standing considerably. He silently urges Gren not to mess things up. Hilgent then comments on Claudia's safe arrival, expressing relief. But Claudia mentions an incident on the way. Their group encountered a wind tiger. Alarmed, Hilgent notes that it's a high-ranking monster, and is surprised she made it out unscathed. One of the knights, still frustrated, remarks that the attack wouldn't have happened if the princess hadn't insisted on leaving the castle. Claudia quickly defends herself, explaining that she's constantly confined and simply wanted to experience the outside world. Claudia apologizes for the trouble her actions caused and shares how their group was saved. A magician appeared out of nowhere, wielding purple flames and defeating the wind tiger in a single strike. Hilgent is stunned. Purple flames aren't part of any known magical discipline. He's never encountered such a technique, and given how well-versed he is in identifying high-class magicians, this one seems entirely unfamiliar. Claudia describes the man further. He carried himself with composure and had jet-black hair. She remembers his name, Noah. The name rattles Hilgent. He momentarily wonders if it could be son, but dismisses the idea. As far as he knows, that child was incapable of using any magic at all. He denies recognizing the name. Suspicious, Claudia presses further, asking where the eldest son of the Aldheim family is. Hilgent says nothing. But Claudia recalls seeing Noah at a party hosted by the Aldheim family years ago. Hilgent quickly shuts it down, claiming they have no child named Noah. He insists their eldest son is Gren. Gren steps forward and displays his fire magic to support the claim. Claudia, sensing the tension, accepts it with a heavy expression, though she doesn't seem convinced. She announces that upon returning to the palace, she plans to conduct further research on the Aldheim family. Hilgent, masking his discomfort, agrees to notify her if anything comes up. Claudia bids them farewell and turns to leave, maintaining her royal composure. But Hilgent is left fuming. He knows that if word gets out that he banished a magically gifted son from the family, his reputation could collapse. After Claudia leaves, the knight apologizes on her behalf, but Hilgent brushes it off. He's already made a decision. Noah must be found and brought back before Claudia uncovers the truth. He orders Gren to look after the estate while he's gone. Gren reacts in shock and protests, worried about losing his chance with Claudia. But Hilgent doesn't care, he's already out the door. Meanwhile, Noah finally arrives at Lubloop in the Wajesti territory. He's awestruck by the grandeur of the Adventurers Guild building. Standing in front of its towering structure, he takes a moment to appreciate the architectural beauty. Then, ready to begin his new life, he steps forward and pushes open the doors, intending to register. But just as he enters, urgency erupts inside the guild. A girl shouts about a crisis at Lubloop volcano. An S-rank monster has been spotted there. Even worse, someone named Serena is already on the volcano, engaging the monster alone. Inside the guild, a wave of panic spreads. A male adventurer nervously asks if the monster on the volcano is Fafnir, an S-rank beast infamous for nearly pushing the Lastia kingdom to the brink of collapse. A female adventurer confirms it, and urgency fills the room. She insists they have to save Serena immediately. but the male adventurer tells everyone to calm down. He questions how they're supposed to help in this kind of situation, reminding them that Serena is the strongest member of their guild. Still, the female adventurer refuses to accept that. She says they can't let Serena die, not like this. Then, guilt spills out. The girl who originally shouted the warning admits it was her fault. She had told Serena about the monster on the volcano. Everyone falls silent. Noah, listening quietly, pieces things together. Serena must be fighting the S-rank monster alone. He wonders if what they really need is someone to go up there and bring her back safely. So he speaks up, he'll go. The room falls completely silent. Then someone asks for his adventurer rank? Noah answers honestly, he hasn't even registered yet. What follows is immediate dismissal. The adventurers shout over one another, insisting they'll handle it instead. Some say they'll call for the kingdom's strongest mages. Others resign themselves to praying for Serena's survival. Noah says nothing. He understands, they don't trust someone who hasn't even joined the guild. Without a rank, there's no reason for anyone to believe in him. As the arguing continues, Noah turns away. Watching them, he notes how worried they all are. It's clear Serena means a lot to them. If something happens to her, many people here will grieve. He reflects on how Serena is likely battling Fafnir all by herself. He knows his ancient magic worked against the Wind Tiger, and he's confident it can work against this monster too. His mind made up, Noah activates his teleportation magic and vanishes. At the Lubloop volcano, lava spews from its crater. The air is thick with heat and ash. On a narrow ledge, Serena stands alone, drenched in sweat, locked in a battle against the towering S-rank monster. On the edge of the volcano, Serena struggles to hold her ground. She can't believe how powerful the monster is. Towering above her, the S-rank beast Fafnir unleashes a roar that shakes the cliffs and sends a wave of intimidation through her. Suddenly, it opens its mouth and fires a massive energy attack directly at her. Overwhelmed, Serena wonders how she's supposed to defeat something that far outclasses her. But just as the attack is about to land, Noah appears and deflects the blast with a burst of ancient magic. Serena stares at him, speechless. Noah, standing calmly in front of her, asks if she's Serena. Still processing what just happened, she says nothing. But there's no time for introductions. Fafnir charges another attack. A beam erupts from its mouth. Noah raises a magical barrier just in time. The beam slams into it, nearly breaking through. Flames erupt around them as the ground trembles. Noah notes that this level of destruction is exactly what he expected from an S-rank monster. He tells Serena he got there through teleportation and warns her that if the battle drags on, the entire volcano might collapse. Serena, still confused, demands to know what just happened and who this stranger even is. Noah calmly introduces himself and says he's an aspiring adventurer. The word aspiring catches Serena off guard. She questions how someone who hasn't even joined a guild plans to fight a monster like this. But Noah doesn't answer, he just begins preparing another spell. He launches a concentrated beam of magic at Fafnir. It hits, sending the monster flying, but Noah already knows it's not enough. Unlike the Wind Tiger, this beast won't go down easily. From behind, a voice calls him insane. Noah assumes it's Serena and replies playfully, saying it's rude to say that. But Serena denies speaking. That's when Noah hears the voice again, one that isn't hers. It's curious about the strange magic he's using. Noah turns to Fafnir, now standing upright, and realizes the monster is speaking telepathically. Fafnir laughs and finds the situation amusing. Since the moment he awakened and broke his seal, he's been attacked non-stop. Now, he wants to know if this human is communicating with him through the mind. Noah, stunned, confirms that he hears the voice in his head too. He apologizes for attacking without warning and insists he has nothing against Fafnir personally. Fafnir, clearly amused, asks why Noah is saying that now. Fafnir repeats that he will never trust a human, blaming them for sealing him away. But Noah insists he's wrong. The girl Fafnir attacked wasn't a threat, she was just there, doing nothing harmful. Noah only arrived to help, and he promises he has no intention of hurting Fafnir any further. Fafner pauses and asks if Noah really means that. Before anything else can happen, Serena yells out. She demands to know if Noah was just talking with the monster. She admits she couldn't understand a word and asks if Noah was speaking some kind of monster language. Noah suddenly realizes he had been using the ancient language he learned as a child without noticing. He recalls reading that many monsters communicate through it. Fafner hears this and agrees. He's been sealed away for so long that it makes sense the language has changed. Noah is relieved to see Fafner so reasonable, and says he's glad the dragon is understanding. Fafner casually adds that, despite appearances, he's actually a herbivore. To show trust, Noah gently holds Fafner's mouth shut and tells Serena there's no danger. Fafner is calm and non-aggressive. Fafner leans toward Serena, but she hesitates. Even if he means no harm, she says the Lost Air Kingdom won't let a monster like him roam free. Noah agrees and warns Fafner that if he's discovered, people will come for him. So he suggests traveling together as companions. Fafner considers it. He asks if Noah means as a familiar or a traveling partner. Then he happily agrees, saying that would actually help him a lot. He suggests forming a companion contract. But to do that, Noah will need to perform high-level rune magic. Fafner asks if he's capable. Noah simply agrees. A massive rune circle appears beneath Fafner. The energy is immense, shaking the volcano's ground. Fafner struggles under the pressure, while Serena watches in awe. A thick cloud of dust rises, making it hard to see. Serena asks what just happened. Noah explains that the contract is complete. He and Fafner are now officially bonded. Thanks to the link, Serena will now be able to speak with Fafner too. She stares in disbelief. Fafner, once an unstoppable threat, is now overwhelmed but bound, no longer a monster, but a companion. As the dust settles around the crater, Fafner looks at Noah and comments that it's impressive someone like him managed to form a contract so easily. Amused, he calls Noah the real monster. Serena, still stunned, processes what she's hearing. She finally realizes the creature in front of her is Fafner, the S-rank monster. But something's changed. Noah explains that Fafner must have shrunk as a result of the contract. Noah then properly introduces himself to Fafner, and says he's looking forward to working together. Fafner responds that he feels the same. Serena joins in, introducing herself as well. Noah adds that in this smaller form, no one will recognize Fafner, which might keep them out of trouble. Fafner agrees, saying that now he won't be sealed by humans ever again. Serena is amazed. She can't believe the monster is actually talking. Noah smiles, happy to have made some friends. But Fafner dryly remarks that if Noah considers a magical contract as friendship, he's definitely a strange one. Serena, still processing everything, says that at least the crisis has been resolved. Back at the Adventurers Guild, the girl who had first raised the alarm breaks down in tears when she sees Serena safe. She blames herself for what happened. But Serena reassures her that it's all fine now. From a distance, Noah quietly watches the reunion. He feels content knowing everything turned out well. Later, outside the guild, Serena tells Noah she reported to the guild that she never saw Fafner, keeping his identity secret. Noah thanks her, calling her a lifesaver. Fafner also expresses his gratitude. Serena then asks where they plan to stay that night. Noah admits he doesn't have much money and suggests camping outdoors. Fafner casually says he doesn't mind. Hearing that, Serena offers them a place at her home. Noah reacts awkwardly at first, but Serena quickly clarifies that it's not meant in a strange way. She's just genuinely thankful he saved her life. Noah asks if she's sure. Serena assures him it's no problem and even promises to cook dinner, mentioning she's actually pretty good at it. Later that evening, the three of them sit down for dinner at Serena's house, an unlikely group brought together by crisis, now sharing a meal like old friends. Noah finds the food delicious, and even Fafner eats heartily. Serena smiles, happy that they're enjoying the meal, and urges them to eat more, there's plenty. Noah thanks her politely. Serena comments on how surprised she was when Noah suddenly appeared at the volcano and launched Fafner into the air. Noah explains that he used ancient magic. But Serena admits she's never been particularly interested in magic. Shifting the topic, she asks if Noah still plans to become an adventurer. When he says yes, she offers to take him to the guild first thing in the morning. Since she's his senior, she promises to guide him through the process. Noah thanks her again, but she tells him to relax and speak casually, like he would with a friend. Noah tenses up at the idea but humbly agrees. Serena says that's better. The next morning, at the Adventurers Guild, the receptionist gives Noah a form and asks him to fill in his information. He returns it shortly after. She then notices the small creature on his back and asks if it's his companion. Fafnir stares at her silently, and Noah quickly hands him a collar belt, asking him to wear it. Fafnir questions what it is, and Noah explains that it's an identification item. Once he wears it, the town will officially recognize him as a companion, allowing him to move around freely. Fafnir puts it on and says it fits perfectly. The receptionist compliments the look. Noah then whispers to Fafnir that he's embedded rune magic into the collar. It will automatically expand if Fafnir ever returns to his true form. The receptionist thanks Noah for waiting and asks him to head into a separate room, where his abilities will be assessed. Hearing this, Noah stiffens up. Fafnir notices the change in his energy and asks what's wrong. Noah replies that he just doesn't have many good memories when it comes to ability tests. With quiet resolve, Noah steps into the evaluation room. Inside, a man greets him warmly. He introduces himself as Carl, the guild's ability assessment supervisor. Noah introduces himself in return. Carl activates a spell that lights up a crystal ball placed in front of them. As the magic flows, the ball glows brightly. Carl examines it and immediately identifies Noah's skill, translation. Noah braces himself, worried how this will be received. But to his surprise, Carl reacts positively. He says it's an extremely rare talent. Both Noah and Fafnir are confused by Carl's reaction. Carl admits that in his 10 years of working at the guild, he's never once encountered someone with the translation skill. While it's certainly rare, he explains, it doesn't align well with typical adventuring work. Carl kindly offers to help Noah find alternative jobs if he prefers something safer. But Noah says it's fine, he'll continue on the adventurer path. Carl warns him again that being an adventurer is dangerous and urges him to stay cautious. Still, he finishes on a cheerful note, telling Noah he's looking forward to seeing what he can do. With that, the session ends. Outside the testing room, Noah shares the news with Serena, telling her that Carl confirmed his skill is rare. Fafnir agrees and adds that Carl seemed like a good person, and of course Noah's skill is rare. Serena, now more focused, says the next step is getting Noah his first quest.
Noah arrives in Rydolf with Princess Alexia. His eyes go wide as the capital hits all at once, and he keeps moving while she says the city of Kirk, her homeland, is even grander, and he just takes that in as they head down the main thoroughfare together. Vendors crowd their path and call out, and the flow of people pulls them forward as Noah sticks beside Alexia and keeps pace. Princess Alexia starts chattering as the shops and people crowd in around her, and she ends up taking back her statement about comparing Rydolf to Kirk while the onlookers in the city stare at her beauty and clothing. Some whisper if she's a doll and others guess she might be a princess from a foreign country. And Yoon isn't surprised they figure it out from clothes that stand out like a sore thumb in the capital, so Noah slips off his cloak and gives it to her to cover her clothing and keep her protected as they move. After a while, they arrive at the estate where several maids attend them, and the chief maid steps up with a warm smile asking how the exploration went. Yoon says it went well and introduces her guests to the maids, explaining they'll be staying for a while. Then she turns to her guests to make sure the guest feels at home, especially Alexia since she's new in their ways, and the maids nod like they've got the task clear. Alexia is so hungry that Yoon can listen to her stomach growl. The maids start setting the dining. Noah asks if they need an extra hand, but the maids humbly turn him down and ask if there's any food he particularly dislikes. And as they get ready for food, Alexia sits beside Noah while the maids go around getting the dining table set, and Noah suddenly feels sad because it's the first time in years servants have been nice to him. The food comes out beautifully prepared by the cook, and Yoon smiles, says she's quite proud, remarks on her chef's cuisine, and invites her guests to dig in. Everyone thanks Yoon for the meal and her hospitality. And as they begin eating, Alexia, who has been far from humans for a long time and doesn't have an eating habit, just attacks the meat ferociously like a warrior. Yoon speaks out that Alexia has a messy way of eating, and Alexia apologizes for eating in messy way. But Noah cuts in and says it's good that she's enjoying her food, and that's the most important thing to her. Alexia has bad table manner, and she even recalls her father always telling her off for it under the royal strict manner. And Noah, who does not seem to mind how she eats, volunteers to teach her. He shows her how to eat decently, tells her to start by cutting the bread, then put the vegetables and meat into the bread, says it will be easier to eat that way, and she agrees to try it. Alexia proves to be a fast learner, and she already picks up decent table manners from Noah. After dinner, Yoon invites Alexia to join her for a bath and guides her to the bathroom, showing her the way step by step, explaining each part with patience while Alexia follows and adapts to Yoon's routines. Sensing Alexia's worry, Fafnir offers to accompany her to reassure, but Alexia focuses on understanding what Yoon is saying and wishes Noah were there to help translate. And the language gap makes it hard, so she drifts into thought about what Yoon might be trying to convey. Alexia struggles to gather her thoughts, feels a hint of unease around Yoon since Yoon looks intimidating without her glasses, then reminds herself Yoon means no harm and they're just trying to communicate even if it is difficult. Yoon notices the hesitation, gives a comforting smile, and shares a story about how in ancient times they could even clean themselves using magic, which grabs Alexia's curiosity and shifts her focus as she listens. Alexia still isn't sure what Yoon wants from her, and then Yoon is suddenly covered with bubbles. So Alexia watches in awe and wonders if this is some kind of magic of the modern day since it smells nice and the bubbles appear effortlessly. Yoon offers to show Alexia how to use the body soap and explains its benefits, and Alexia examines it, says it seems to be made from herbs. Yoon admires Alexia's flawless skin and wonders about her skincare secrets as the princess of an ancient kingdom. With Noah absent, Yoon finds it hard to communicate. So she and Alexia lean on gestures and expressions, swap small smiles, and get through the language barrier. Alexia wonders if Yoon knows she is the princess, then decides Yoon is clueless about her identity, hence no communication is needed, and Yoon is so tired she doesn't think about Alexia any further. The bath goes on longer because they can't talk much, which neither of them sees as necessary, and after a while they step out together, dry their hair, and Yoon shows Alexia an item that dries hair with a warm breeze, which feels so cool for her, and the ancient magic is also great for Yoon. They emerge from the bathroom looking a bit closer, both thinking the shared bath was eventful even without understanding each other's language. Noah suggests to Alexia that they study together so she can communicate better with Yoon. Yoon joins the conversation and asks Noah to help her learn the ancient language at least a bit. And Noah is pleased seeing how well Alexia and Yoon are getting along as the duo even invite Noah to join them for a bath next time. But he laughs at their boldness and politely turns it down. Noah Aldheim, the first child of the Aldheim family, drifts into a dream of his childhood, and the memories sting as his father never loved him after the appraisal showed the talent of translation, a gift called useless in modern magic, and those years are lonely as he gets ignored and spends his time in the underground library translating ancient books in archaic language until he leaves the house at 15 to figure himself out, roams cities, meets friends, becomes an adventurer, and that talent, once mocked, now turns into an ability that could change the world. He wakes up from the dream about his painful childhood, sits there bothered, his head sinking into his shoulders as he rubs his hair looking for answers and finding none, then heads to breakfast with Alexia, the ancient princess of Kirk who was trapped in time, and she works at the modern language as times have changed and everything is different from back when she was a princess. At the table, she speaks to Noah in the modern language, and it amazes him how fast she learns, and when she munches the bread she tells Noah he is good at teaching, but he says no, it's because she worked hard, and when she asks for a pet from Noah he gently pets her head, which lifts her up as she promises to work even harder and wonders if her father treated her like this in the past. She mentions her father and Noah flinches, and Alexia catches it and asks if he is okay. And he says he's okay, but she insists he isn't because he suddenly changed, and he waves it off and tells her not to worry. Really, he's fine? Then steers the talk away and suggests they head to the Adventurers Guild and get Alexia registered. Alexia, new to the modern world, asks what an Adventurer Guild is, and Noah explains it's a place where they're allowed to do varieties of things, where she can get jobs, learn a lot, and make a lot of money. Alexia tells him she does not care too much as long as she is with him, and Noah nods, then asks Yoon about her next plan. But Yoon stays locked in, too focused on her work to answer while Fafnir the baby dragon watches her and finds that focus admirable. Alexia glances over, wonders what Yoon is doing looking all serious, and they both figure that as an engineer-magician she can manipulate both magical and mechanical forces to forge devices that push beyond what magic or technology can do alone. So they guess she is on a new magic item, probably tied to ancient magic. Noah and Alexia head to the Adventurers Guild without her, and step inside a hall already moving with a mix of adventurers trading noise, food, and stories. Alexia gets D-ranked but still with a lot to learn before taking dangerous or prestigious quests, and as a magic user she can manipulate magical forces to cast spells, perform rituals, or channel arcane energy. She's surprised the whole process is quick and easy, and Noah explains it's fast because Yoon handed in a recommendation letter before they arrived. Noah gets promoted to D-rank as well, and Faf the baby dragon wonders how someone of Noah's stature is still only D-rank and says he should be S-rank adventurer already, but Noah answers that an individual can only go up one rank at a time. They move away from the guild and Alexia feels tired, so Noah advises they go home, and when she adds that she is hungry he proposes they swing by the market to get something to eat and she nods. He shows them a shortcut toward the market, and on the way Alexia suggests they all go for a bath after eating, but Noah tells her he is not going with her since he has not been included, and Alexia takes a guess that the baby dragon was Fafnir all along. As they move along the path to the market, Noah hears a footstep closing in and turns to see who it is, and to his surprise it's his father, the head of the Aldheim family, standing with an appearance that's imposing and mysterious as his attire blends ancient magical tradition with symbols of immense power and authority. Noah is stunned to see his father and Aldheim tells him to come home immediately, says he will explain later, and insists he comes home with him as he grabs and drags at him. But Noah pulls free and refuses because he was the one that kicked him out of the house, and he stays adamant that he is not going to return, says he now has things to strive for and has no reason to go home, and as his father's expression hardens and he decides to force him to come with him, Noah plants his feet and gets ready to push back. Aldheim lifts his hand and a small orb of swirling flames forms in his palm, about the size of a large apple or a small melon, and as it grows it quickly expands into a sphere of roaring fire, the flames twisting and churning as small bursts pop out and get pulled back into the main body, the whole thing moving with a molten fluid-like weight as it gathers power. A low menacing whooshing starts like a furnace warming up, and when he throws it the shot whistles through the air and detonates on impact with a thunderous blast and a roaring crackle, trailing fiery sparks and heat waves so strong the air distorts like the fireball is warping reality on its way to the target. He turns one fireball into Noah, and Noah counters with ancient magic that brings out the purple flame as a shimmering barrier forms in front of him like a mystical rune spread in the air. Not a simple wall but an intricate web of arcane symbols and ethereal light glowing with an energy that feels tied to the very bones of the world, the whole shield pulsing to mark its old and powerful origins. Aldheim freezes when he sees the purple flame, exactly as Claudia had described, and he realizes Noah uses ancient magic, and if the books of ancient were hidden in the mansion then Noah's translation skill let him access the book written in the ancient language and translate them, so now he can use magic, and Aldheim thinks the skill was actually halfway decent after all. He tells Noah to come immediately, says he could be the heir to the family with his newfound power, but Noah declines because what his father cares about is the talent, not him, and Aldheim doesn't see a problem since he believes strength and talent are everything. Noah doesn't want to go all out in a city. It's not his decision to make, but Aldheim leaves him no choice. Alexia raises her hands and the air starts to swirl in a controlled rush that coalesces in front of them as an invisible barrier, the wind visibly distorting space with ripples and shimmering waves as it sets, and she steps in to protect Noah from his father, asks Noah if he is hurt, then shoots Aldheim a sharp look for hurting Noah and promises not to forgive Aldheim. Noah comes between them before they clash, placing himself in front of Alexia against his father. Suddenly the earth erupts, the cause unknown, and the shock snaps the fight apart as Aldheim withdraws and turns his back, telling Noah he will come back for him and that he shouldn't think of running when he does. Noah stands there dejected after the clash with his father, then goes straight to Alexia to check if she is okay. Fafnir the baby dragon notes an insane amount of energy just surged and wonders if others sensed it too, but everyone else is in the dark about the cause. Only Yoon has an idea of what is going on. Yoon says the phantasma turtle is responsible, and she can't believe the turtle is still alive as its translucent ghostly form rises slowly from the swirling magic, and the sight turns the air heavy with tension while a sense of dread pushes in as its once calm ethereal glow shifts into a dark pulsing aura of malevolent magic that makes its purpose clear. Each movement of the turtle sends a deep reverberating rumble through the ground like mountains shifting or the world itself groaning in pain. And when it releases energy bursts or launches its spinning shell attack, there's a roar of arcane force that sounds like wind, thunder, and the crackling of a firestorm all at once as its magic warps the natural sounds into an eerie distant echo even up close. The kingdom panics over the creature's emergence, and the Rathdare kingdom, especially the princess, worries until the king says they will use their full strength to exterminate it as orders go out for the night magicians to gather as many people as possible, and only D-adventurers and above are to be recruited, with all adventurer guilds notified to head to the capital. Yoon didn't expect it to blow up this big but says at this pace the phantasma turtle reaches the capital in 3 days, which means troops need assembling in 2 days at least, and because Noah and Alexia notified her so quickly, actions roll out immediately, and that speed tremendously helps the kingdom. Yoon heads to the king's castle to strategize tactics, using Alexia's information, and the duo wish her well as she leaves while orders go out for non-adventurous people to evacuate, which includes Mr. Noah and Miss Alexia, and staff receive evacuating orders until the streets are empty and only strategists and adventurers remain. Noah and Alexia decide to rest for the day. He walks her to her room and they split, and a few minutes after Noah enters his room, a knock lands on his door, and when he checks, it's Alexia. She steps in and asks if they could sleep together, then lies down clutching the bed sheet as she tells him that ever since the phantasma turtle reappeared, bad memories have resurfaced and she is so scared she can't sleep alone. Noah can't comfort her and says nothing can be done about it. She asks about his father, curious where the relationship went wrong, and Noah tells her about the Aldium family, how they prize superiority in magic, how his translation skill was treated as thrash, and how the family shunned him. Alexia asks why Noah doesn't want to fix it with his father, and he says it's difficult right now because he has a purpose and doesn't want to be swayed by emotions or personal reasons. She seeks comfort in Noah and tells him not to die because of the phantasma turtle, says that thing is extremely powerful and even the people of Kirk struggled against it, and Noah assures her he won't die and he will eventually defeat the phantasma turtle. She holds him tightly as he bid her good night. Noah can't sleep all night. Her grip keeps him tense and his head spins on the phantasma turtle as his greatest challenge, the strongest opponent he would ever have to fight, and he wonders if his father would join with him to face it and whether he can rely on him at all. Morning hits and Fafnir wakes both Alexia and Noah, shouting their names, and Noah jolts up with the creature's name on his lips because the monster is all he thought about through the night. Fafnir says nothing happened overnight and tells him to rest his oars, and Noah snaps back to the present, realizes the day has begun, and that they have a lot to do, only to notice Noah and Alexa overslept on this crucial day. Fafnir tells them they were very stupid to have slept off as squadrons on the east of Rydolf assemble and the battle against the phantasma turtle draws near, and Noah and Alexa look around as people pour in from all over the kingdom while some scary-looking guys, probably adventurers, file past. S-rank adventurers arrive from a faraway realm known as the Rathdare Kingdom, only 12 of them, and they stand out as masters of combat. Fafnir, the baby dragon, transforms into a beautiful-looking human so it can freely use its power, and afterward all adventurers receive a strategy paper. Fafnir and Alexia can't read the strategy paper and have no idea what's written, but they can tell the plan splits into 3 parts. The first squadron is Rathdare Knights and Magicians who will lead the attack as the elite or primary unit with the highest responsibility and skill. The next squad to move after them is the adventurers already gathered in Rydolf, and the final squad are the adventurers yet to arrive, which includes the S-rank adventurers and top-tier fighters. Noah's father will fight in the final squadron, and Noah believes his father is a strong fighter, so he feels relieved he doesn't have to fight beside him since they are in different squads. A lot of varieties of magic items get brought in to help take down the phantasma turtle, and many people and tools are gathered in short time. Alexia thinks about Kirk, the land of her ancestors, worried she will face them alone, and she asks protection from her father and from everyone at Kirk as they watch from the great beyond. Then she steels herself and decides she will defeat the phantasma turtle this time. The trio, Noah, Alexia, and Fafnir, wait in the tent as the battle unfolds. The air goes tense as warriors stand in grim formation under dark, ominous clouds, Their faces a mix of resolve and fear while every soldier grips their weapon tightly. The princess steps forward to encourage them, thanking them for participating and apologizing for what happened a while ago. Aldheim is also present, and the princess apologizes for her behavior during their last encounter. Mr. Aldheim, wondering about his first son who he expected to be in this compulsory quest, volunteers for the front line, and the princess happily accepts his request. The next day, the battle begins with the frontline squadron leading the charge as the kingdom's last hope, battle-ready with their cannons. The quest starts with a thunderous roar of cannons, and as the deafening blasts echo through the canyon, the giant turtle emerges from the swirly mist. It towers over the landscape, its body flickering and shifting in an eerie, shimmering glow, its enormous legs stretching impossibly long with each step. Despite its ethereal nature, it casts an overwhelming shadow, its presence so menacing it blurs the line between illusion and reality. The warriors on the front lines watch in awe and fear as it materializes, its many eyes glowing with a cold, predatory light. But there is no time for hesitation. The warriors realize this quest is more than just a battle of strength. As the cannons boom again, they know they are in a race against time to uncover the hidden magic giving the creature its terrifying power. Meanwhile, the kingdom of Rydolf is in chaos, the people unsettled and scared as evacuations get underway. The little ones are terrified of the monster, while the adults comfort them, believing the kingdom's strong knights will defeat it. Back on the field, all cannons fire at the monster. The soldiers are stunned as the massive fire cannon blasts collide with the phantasma turtle only to pass right through its form as if it were nothing more than smoke. The explosions light up the battlefield, but when the smoke clears, the turtle remains unscathed, still advancing with eerie calm. Another cannon blast echoes through the valley, but again, the attack is futile. Their most powerful weapon is utterly useless. They have fought many beasts, but none like this nightmare made flesh. The commander stands firm at the front, refusing to relent. His sharp, unwavering eyes are fixed burning marks on the ground. He can't accept that the fire cannon has no effect, and his grip tightens on his sword, his voice rising above the din of panic. The soldiers' hearts pound as the phantasma turtle's massive, looming foot hovers above them, casting a shadow that stretches across the entire battlefield. Time seems to slow. The air crackles with the turtle's dark energy. Then chaos erupts. Adventurers run and scream, their voices lost in the roar of battle as the massive foot comes crashing down with terrifying speed. The ground shudders violently. Soldiers scatter, desperately trying to escape the crushing weight of the turtle's leg. The earth quakes as the colossal limb makes impact, sending a shockwave of force through the ground that tears through the lines of warriors. The explosion kicks up a huge cloud of dust and magic, and the air shakes like crazy. Anyone who wasn't fast enough gets thrown into the air like a rag doll, and you can't even hear them scream over the noise. After that, the second squadron gets ready. It's finally time for Noah, Alexia, and Fafnir to step up and fight. The guys from the first squadron come running back, totally beaten. They report that there aren't many of them left and that they couldn't do anything to the monster. They tried their best, but it was no use. The new group of adventurers charges at the monster, yelling chants for their kingdom, their families, and their friends. They promise to defend their home, even if they die trying. The giant phantasma turtle's face is pure nightmare fuel, enough to freak out even the toughest warrior. Alexia was amazed by how brave the new soldiers were. She gave them a big round of applause for their courage. Then she stepped up to take the lead in the battle. Alexia made a huge magic barrier to protect the soldiers from the monster's huge feet. The barrier was like a big glowing dome hanging over them, shining and humming with raw magic power. From far away, it looked alive, always moving and changing a little to fit the land and fight the monster. At the center of the barrier was a web of glowing runes. These runes were ancient and full of life, moving all over the barrier like pieces of a glowing puzzle. Together, they made the barrier strong enough to resist any attack. The mages who made the barrier had carefully built each rune with spells of protection and strength. When the turtle's giant foot slammed down, the barrier flared up with bright energy. The shockwave shook the air, but the barrier didn't break. Sparks flew off it, pushing back the monster's power. The barrier's surface bent and flexed like a bubble of light, never cracking. The turtle kept attacking, but every hit only made the barrier shine brighter, feeding off the monster's energy. The soldiers, though shaken, knew they could fight back now. The barrier was more than just a shield. It was hope itself, a sign of the mage's power and the strength of working together. The tornado attack was incredible, showing how good Noah was with magic. It was fast and precise, perfect for fighting a monster known to have a shield no one could break. Noah called the winds down with a fierce shout. At first, the air moved a little, but soon it became a huge, twisting tornado, swirling higher and higher like a giant funnel full of magic energy. The phantasma turtle was huge and slow but stood firm like a fortress. Its shell shimmered and reflected light, making it hard to tell where it really was. The tornado had to be perfect. Brute force wouldn't break through the turtle's magic shield. The tornado roared toward the turtle, shaking the ground as it pulled dust and rocks into its swirl. Lightning danced inside the tornado, lighting up the whole field. The funnel hit the turtle hard, whipping around its big body and trying to lift it off the ground. But the turtle's magic fought back. Its shell glowed strange, bending and twisting the tornado's force like it was changing reality itself. The tornado grabbed at the turtle's form, but the real spot hid behind many shimmering illusions. Noah saw he was at a disadvantage. He knew he needed more power, like when he used the World Book magic to beat the giant golem and save the fairies. He made a plan. Alexia and Fafnir would distract the turtle while he called up the magic from the World Book. They told him to go ahead and said they'd handle things. Suddenly, Noah's father appeared. Just as Noah was about to use the World Book, his father threatened to kill him. Aldium noticed Noah had a magic shield on his robe. He said the ancient magic was interesting but nothing compared to modern magic. Then, without warning, he blasted Noah with his terrifying flame magic that could exterminate anyone in its path. Noah fights back with his water surge. It's a glowing bubble of water that appears with just a wave of his hand. At first, it's a small ball of water, but it quickly grows into a big dome covering everything inside. When something hits the shield, the water gets hard like steel for a moment, then spreads the attack away like waves crashing on rocks. When magic hits, the water soaks it up and sends the magic harmlessly away, like skipping stones on a lake. Noah tells his father to stop. He says they don't have time to fight right now. But his father doesn't care about the turtle or what it's doing to the kingdom. Noah says again he can't fight his father now. But the father ignores him and suddenly launches a massive flame attack. The eternal flame Noah's father casts is unlike any normal fire. It burns with ancient magic that doesn't need fuel. Rain or snow can't put it out. The flame never flickers or fades, and it gives off a warm, steady heat that's more comforting than burning. But then his father casts an ice shield fortress. It starts as a small glowing blue disk, growing fast into a big dome of thick, enchanted ice. The ice shines cold blue and is smooth and shiny, able to block arrows and magic. Then tall jagged ice walls pop up, surrounding the area like a castle wall, standing strong against attacks. Spikes of ice rise from the edges, like little towers, making it even harder to break through. His father tells Noah to give up, says he can't win. But Noah refuses. Then his father gets mad and casts a powerful spell combining burning lava and falling meteors. Fire, rock, and force rain down, turning the battlefield into a burning, crashing nightmare. The attack Noah's father uses is called the meteor volcano technique. Aldheim thinks it's sad that Noah thinks he can fight him, one of the strongest on the continent. He says it would have been better if Noah's strength was with their house instead. Aldheim admits it's a mistake to have kicked Noah out when he was weak, but if everyone finds out how strong Noah is now, that mistake will cost him. He threatens Noah. Come home or he'll make sure Noah won't exist. Noah tries to tell him he's not coming back. He's promised Alexia he'll defeat the phantasma turtle first. He doesn't want to fight his father, but since it's come to this, he has no choice but to go all out. Aldheim gets angry and calls Noah insolent for looking him in the eye like that. Noah dares to think it's brave to call himself his father. Noah uses teleportation to frustrate him, He can move instantly from one place to another by bending space. Aldheim gets mad and mocks him, saying no one will let him escape. Suddenly Noah appears behind Aldheim and punches him hard on the right cheek, sending him crashing down. Noah feels good to land such a hit. Aldheim falls face down in shame. Noah warns that if he doesn't stop his father, who else will? He thinks his dad could become a problem later. His father is surprised. He thought Noah wanted to end his life. He asks if that's true. Noah moves closer and uses ancient magic. Energy flows all over Aldheim's body. His eyes bulge out, and the power surges through him like a wave under his skin. Aldheim falls to the ground, looking lifeless. Noah turns his back and silently says goodbye. The phantasma turtle lets out a deep, resonant roar as it tries to shatter the barrier Alexia created to shield the soldiers. Unlike the sharp cries of more aggressive beasts, its voice is a low, rumbling bellow that carries an ancient weight, as though it echoes from the depths of another world. The sound rolls across the battlefield, shaking the earth and making the very air tremble with its force. Alexia holds her ground, maintaining the barrier despite the crushing pressure. Fafnir, the young dragon, fights at her side, but when she is nearly struck down by the phantasma turtle, the dragon rushes in to shield her. Even then, Alexia shows no concern for her own safety, pulling herself back only to protect Fafnir. At that moment Noah appears, apologizing for arriving late. Alexia, relieved to see him, asks about his father, but Noah answers coldly that he has no father. His words linger in her mind, stirring unease as she wonders if he truly killed him. The battle does not stop. Noah calls for Alexia and Fafnir to keep the creature occupied a little longer while he focuses on breaking through its defenses. He pushes forward, moving as close to the phantasma turtle as possible, even attempting to climb onto its massive shell. Fafnir, watching him risk his life so recklessly, is stunned by his determination. Alexia immediately follows, unwilling to leave him alone against the beast. For a moment Fafnir hesitates, thinking their decision is foolish and dangerous. But as the two press on without fear, the dragon finally surges after them, deciding that if nothing else, it might be fun to face the challenge together. Noah takes a deep breath, bracing himself for the fight ahead. His eyes flicker with inner resolve as he clenches his fists and looks up at the towering monster, its enormous shadow stretching across the battlefield. Despite his sharp words earlier, a trace of worry lingers in his gaze when it falls on Alexia. Her determination inspires him, but it also troubles him. He does not want her to be in harm's way. Steeling himself, Noah pulls out a thick ancient tome, the Book of the Underworld. Dark energy pulses through its pages, and as his fingers move across the glowing script, he begins to chant in a low, guttural voice. The atmosphere grows heavy, thick with a sinister power that spreads through the ground itself. Black shadows seep from the book, curling around his arms like smoke, coiling tighter with each word he utters. Reports spread quickly across the kingdom. The phantasma turtle has already wiped out both the 1st and 2nd battalions in rapid succession. Word follows that powerful adventurers are holding it back, caught in an ongoing battle. Yoon, hearing this, is convinced the report must be about Noah and Alexia. Confident in their strength, she immediately calls for reinforcements. Adventurers are gathered, the S-ranks ordered into formation, and the kingdom's mages prepared to unleash their magic. The goal is clear: defeat the turtle before it crushes everything in its path. Meanwhile, Noah delves deeper into the tome. At first, the information about the phantasma turtle appears encrypted, a sign of its overwhelming strength. It will not be as easy to decipher as the previous monsters. Yet Noah believes that with his translation skill, nothing is impossible. Determined, he flips to another section of the book, and this time, the details about the turtle reveal themselves fully. But there is a catch. To unlock the knowledge, he must translate everything line by line. For Noah, this is the moment he has been waiting for. He remembers the countless hours he spent buried in study during his childhood, time many thought wasted. Now he wants to prove that every second mattered. He focuses, working tirelessly to translate the book right there on the battlefield, determined to show the results of his effort. Alexia and Fafnir engage the phantasma turtle, buying him as much time as they can. The enormous creature looms above them, its shell like an indestructible fortress. Strange shifting patterns ripple across its surface, reflecting the distorted world around it. Its glowing eyes, filled with otherworldly light, remain locked on the warriors who dare to stand against it. Alexia grips her weapon, ready for a direct clash, while Fafnir hovers near her, prepared to strike at any opening. The tension spreads across the battlefield as the soldiers and adventurers rally. Cannons roar to life, sending blasts against the monster. Fafnir is surprised to see the humans fighting so desperately to support them, especially when many do not even know who is holding the beast back. The adventurers and mages pour everything they have into the assault, determined to keep firing their magic until their strength runs dry. The baby dragon refused to stay underestimated any longer. It revealed its true form, transforming into a being both majestic and terrifying. Its body stretched long and serpentine, cloaked in overlapping scales that shimmered like liquid light. The creature's frame moved with fluid strength, able to coil tightly like a serpent or stretch out long enough to wrap around a towering fortress. Its head was a mix of elegance and menace, sleek and serpentine yet marked with the ferocity of a dragon. Curved horns arched backward like a crown, while a narrow snout ended in sharp, gleaming fangs. Its eyes blazed with a cold starlight, able to pierce illusions and lay bare the souls of anyone who dared to meet its gaze. The Fafnir showed no mercy to those it deemed unworthy, using its power to crush intruders or strike fear deep into their hearts. Once bound by a contract that sealed away its potential, it now stood fully unleashed, a force that could not be restrained. As the transformation completed, the Fafnir lunged at the illusionary turtle, taunting it and threatening to scar it for life. The sudden shift from a little girl into such a monstrous being shocked the surrounding warriors. Murmurs spread through the ranks, but the commander dismissed it, ordering them to ignore the duel, claiming it was unimportant compared to their own fight. The turtle emerged with slow, deliberate steps, towering above all. Each movement shook the ground, but its pace belied a hidden strength. Its massive shell gleamed with shifting patterns, a fortress of enchanted surfaces that twisted reflections and bent reality itself. Its deep-set glowing eyes studied the Fafnir, recognizing a rival of equal might. In response, the Fafnir unfurled radiant wings, sending gusts of wind crashing through the earth below. Light rippled across its scales, refracting the colors of the world in dazzling waves as it coiled and uncoiled with predatory precision. When the two locked eyes, it was a silent acknowledgement. Each had found a worthy opponent. Meanwhile, away from the battlefield, Noah remained motionless with his eyes closed, hands on the Book of the Worlds. Alexia observed quietly, curiosity burning as she realized he was no longer in this realm but working within another. She began to understand what he was handling. The legendary tome said to alter the fate of entire worlds. The Book of the Worlds was immense, bound in weathered leather dark as midnight, its edges reinforced with metallic engravings that shimmered faintly. At its center lay the head rune, a shifting, intricate symbol too complex for the eye to fully grasp. Staring at it too long brought visions of endless spiraling realms or whispers of voices from worlds that had yet to exist. Inside, the pages felt like paper but were impervious to fire, water, or even most magic. Every surface was covered in precise ancient lettering, written in a language so old that only runic mastery could unlock its meaning. The tome was divided into countless sections, each describing realms, laws of magic, and pathways of interworld travel. Its structure bent and adapted to the reader, revealing knowledge in ways their mind could grasp, always guiding, always reshaping itself. Alexia could only watch as Noah delved deeper, connected to a book said to be created by the head of the runes himself. A book that shifted with the will of its reader, and one that now rested in Noah's hands. Alexia's thoughts raced. She could not understand how Noah, a man outside the rune bloodline, could wield such a forbidden power. Before her questions could settle, a presence emerged from the shadows. A dark spirit, allied with the illusionary turtle, crept into view. It drifted with an eerie grace, its form shifting like smoke caught in a restless wind. Though formless, it carried intent sharper than any blade. Darkness clung to it, an aura that devoured light itself, thickening the shadows until they seemed alive. The air grew heavy and cold, draining warmth from Alexia's skin and filling her chest with a hollow dread. Rage flared inside her. This thing had come to break Noah's focus and destroy him, but she would not allow it. She had already lost too many people dear to her, and she refused to add Noah to that list. Planting herself between the spirit and him, Alexia braced against the suffocating aura as the shadow lunged. Its formless limbs lashed out with killing intent, but Alexia struck back, her kicks cutting through the darkness, forcing it to recoil. The spirit's voice, cold and ancient, echoed with disdain. To it, humans had no right to defy spirits. Yet Alexia stood firm, defiance blazing in her eyes, even as her strength waned. Every strike she delivered felt like hitting smoke, her body tiring with each clash. She called out to Noah, urging him to finish quickly, desperation tightening her words as the battle pressed harder against her. Within another realm, Noah remained unshaken. His body stood tense in the chaos, surrounded by floating fragments of the underworld book. Each colossal page circled him in wide arcs, inscribed with cryptic runes glowing a sinister red. His arms stretched outward, forcing the massive texts to orbit under his will as he unraveled their secrets with fierce concentration. Ancient energies pulsed in the air, thick and hostile, as though the realm itself resisted his intrusion. Beyond the struggle between Alexia, Noah, and the spirit, the battlefield swarmed with adventurers gathering to face the illusionary beasts. These were not ordinary fighters but legends in their own right. Among them was Lawrence, a master magician whose mastery of spells was known throughout the kingdom. Standing beside him was Jeek, the famed dragon slayer, hardened by countless battles against creatures feared as gods. Solitary Misha, the elf who rejected the weight of titles, fought with unmatched skill. Though she had risen to S rank without guild backing, her strength needed no name to prove its worth. And towering over them all was Beast Lord Frenel, a colossal wolf. Its presence alone bent the air with primal authority. Dark gray fur streaked with silver rippled like a storm-given flesh, every muscle sharp with raw power. Its paws pressed into the earth with such weight that the ground cracked beneath them. Long claws gleamed like blades, and its piercing eyes burned with intelligence and wild ferocity. A low growl rumbled from its throat, the sound vibrating through the battlefield, a warning to all who dared cross its path. Selena, one of the renowned S-rank adventurers, arrived on the battlefield and immediately began searching for Noah. When her eyes finally found him, she noticed the tense atmosphere surrounding him and his companions. The strategy for the war was already being laid out, but their faces carried the weight of despair. Selena understood why. Everyone knew the harsh truth. If they lost here, it would mean death for all. At that moment, Princess Claudia stepped onto the battlefield. Her presence alone stirred the soldiers, and she encouraged them to keep their spirits high. Yoon quickly rushed toward her, worried about the danger. With the illusionary turtle being held back only with great difficulty, Yoon suggested that the princess be evacuated in case the situation worsened. But Claudia remained firm. She refused to abandon her kingdom and her warriors. To her, she was not just royalty but a symbol of authority, a living banner of the nation. If she fled, morale would collapse. Her voice steady, she assured Yoon that she would remain, that victory was still possible, and that they would fight until the end. Even as she stood tall, Claudia's heart was heavy with worry for Hilden, who had gone to the front lines to protect the city. She prayed for his safe return. Meanwhile, the soldiers continued to fire their weapons relentlessly at the massive turtle. Soon after, two soldiers stumbled upon Hilden lying unconscious on the ground. Alarmed, they called for help and tried to bring him back. Time passed before he stirred awake. His eyes opened with confusion, as though he was searching for his own identity. The soldiers inspected him and were surprised to find that he had no injuries. When he spoke, he apologized for causing concern, his tone heavy with uncertainty. Though relieved that he was safe, The soldiers couldn't ignore how strange he seemed. To many of them, Hilden was an inspiration, yet as he stood, it was clear something was wrong. He felt disoriented, sensing that parts of his memory had been stripped away. His eyes fell on a robe beside him, inscribed with ancient runes. He could not recall its origin, yet a strong unease grew within him, as though someone had tampered with his mind, leaving gaps he could not bridge. He searched for answers, but none came. Once he regained his strength, Hilden mounted a dragon that appeared by his side. The majestic creature soared into the sky with immense grace. Soldiers tried to stop Hilden as he prepared to leave, but he pushed past them, determined. From above, as the winged dragon carried him across the sky, his gaze fell upon the battlefield below. There, he caught sight of the fierce struggle between Alexia and the Dark Spirit. The battle between Alexia and the Dark Spirit raged on in a twilight realm where shadows twisted unnaturally, and the air itself hummed with dark energy. Alexia stood firm, her body outlined by a glowing aura of light that clashed against the overwhelming gloom. Each swing carried a balance of refined technique and sheer determination as she fought to keep the spirit at bay. The Dark Spirit's form was ever-changing, a shifting mass of smoke and shadow streaked with faint flashes of crimson and sickly green. Its hollow eyes radiated malice, and its hiss echoed endlessly across the void. Whenever Alexia's blade struck, the spirit's body scattered into drifting wisps before reforming with a shriek, lunging back with clawed tendrils of darkness that slashed at her with chilling speed. Their clash lit the realm in bursts of light and shadow, a relentless struggle that painted the battlefield in chaos. Dodging a vicious strike, Alexia summoned a protective spell, sending a wave of white light outward. The brightness cut through the spirit's form, scattering it temporarily, but the reprieve was brief. The creature reformed almost instantly, seeping in around her like a heavy fog. Its whispers slithered into her ears, carrying twisted promises and threats that clawed at her mind. Breathing deeply, Alexia steadied herself, gathering what strength she could. She reinforced the protective barrier around Noah, determined not to let anything reach him. But the spirit's endless assault pressed harder, its clawed swipes growing faster and heavier as she slowed under exhaustion. It taunted her with the promise that her resistance would soon break, that her life would be extinguished here. Just as her strength began to waver, a flash of brilliance cut across the shadows. Mr. Hilden appeared at her side, his bow already in hand. His gaze sharpened with focus as he drew the weapon, channeling pure energy into it. The bow pulsed with a resonant hum, its string glowing as a radiant arrow formed, runes circling its shaft with blinding light. With a steady breath, he released. The arrow soared forward, blazing like a comet and scattering darkness in its wake. As it neared the spirit, it split apart into countless streaks of light, spiraling in from every direction. The spirit shrieked as the arrows pierced its body, each strike burning away fragments of shadow in bursts of golden brilliance. The shafts embedded into its form glowed brighter, pulsing with holy energy that bound it tightly, forcing the creature's core to the surface. At its center, a swirling vortex of pure darkness writhed violently, now exposed under the relentless radiance. The spirit thrashed in desperation, its once terrifying form flickering and crumbling as the purifying arrows burned through its essence. Alexia was stunned when she saw Mr. Hilden. He looked different, yet there was no mistaking it was him. Concern showed in his eyes, and Alexia realized with shock that the man she thought Noah had killed was standing here alive. To Hilden, however, she seemed like a stranger. He asked why a child was standing on the battlefield, his voice filled with confusion, as though he felt they had met before but could not place when. Alexia's heart lifted to see him again, but the moment was strange. When Hilden asked her to lend him her strength, she instead pleaded with him to protect Noah. Her words only deepened his confusion. He asked if the child inside the barrier was the one she meant, showing no sign of recognition. Alexia's mind raced. How could he not know his own son? Hilden explained he was suffering from a head injury, and the realization struck Alexia like a blade. This was no ordinary loss of memory. Noah must have erased his father's memories himself. The memory erase technique was one of the rarest forms of ancient magic, feared even among the most powerful mages. Alexia now understood. Noah had erased every trace of himself from his father's memory. Hilden's lack of recognition was not an accident, but a deliberate act. Before she could dwell on it further, the sky darkened. The dark spirit descended again, its twisted form looming over them. Its voice cut through the air like a venomous hiss as it mocked Hilden, questioning how someone so weak and insignificant dared to intervene in this battle. Mr. Hilden is shocked when his magic has no effect on the dark spirit. Alexia urges him to fight by her side, and though hesitant, he agrees. She knows that once a memory is erased, it can never be restored, which means Noah has been left utterly alone. The dark spirit arrogantly believes that even with Mr. Hilden's help, nothing will change. Hilden, however, is shaken when he hears Alexia call Noah by name. The thought that the boy battling the illusionary turtle is his son feels absurd, yet something about the name lingers in his mind, stirring fragments of a memory buried deep. As Alexia repeatedly orders him to protect his eldest son, Hilden finds himself growing restless, sensing a familiarity he cannot explain. He unleashes a powerful fireball at the illusionary turtle, tilting the massive creature back. Watching Noah channel his magic, Hilden is struck by the boy's strength. Yet he also notices how defenseless Noah becomes while preparing his spell. He wonders if Noah has always relied on others to shield him in such moments. Suddenly, the dark spirit strikes from behind, thrusting through Noah's body. Alexia cries out in fear, believing Noah has been killed. But in reality, it is not Noah at all. It is a fiery clone created by Hilden using his third magic, Fire Phantom. This spell draws heat and energy from within the caster, shaped with perfect focus until sparks ignite and swirl into a blazing humanoid form. With a burst of power, the flames solidify into a living phantom made entirely of fire, an ethereal clone that mirrors the caster's movements and abilities. Its ember-like skin glows with molten cracks, its outline flickers with restless flames, and its burning eyes shine with a depth greater than the caster's own, like a living inferno contained within. The fiery phantom takes the blow in Noah's place, burning away in a burst of embers as Alexia realizes Hilden had shielded Noah all along. The fire phantom mirrors every movement of its caster, moving with the same precision, agility, and skill. Though not fully tangible, it strikes land with the force of searing flames, spreading intense heat and leaving behind burning traces that grow hotter with every hit. It shifts in and out of visibility, vanishing in a trail of fire before reappearing elsewhere, making it nearly impossible for enemies to predict its next attack. But this clone is fueled only by Mr. Hilden's will and magic, and over time, its glow begins to wane. When its power is spent, it combusts in a final explosion of embers that scatter into the air. The technique demands immense focus and drains its caster. Yet in battle, the fire phantom stands as a fierce ally. Against the dark spirit, it unleashed a relentless storm of blazing strikes, overwhelming and provoking it. The spirit, unable to land a clean hit, grew furious, shouting threats as its frustration mounted. While the phantom bought precious time, Noah's condition worsened. His energy had drained to a dangerous level, leaving him weakened. Alexia, desperate, thought of lending him her own power, but Hilden stopped her. Instead, he sacrificed his strength, transferring a portion of his magic into Noah. He told her with certainty that Noah could defeat the illusionary turtle, his voice carrying the conviction of a father even if his memories were clouded. As he watched Noah closely, his heart tightened. The child's face resembled Reyna, his late wife. A rush of pain struck him as pieces of the past tried to resurface. His hand instinctively gripped the chain around his neck, the one carrying Reyna's picture. Memories stirred. Moments of her pushing him to stay awake during study sessions, of her scolding him when he dozed off with magic books open in front of him. His mind drifted back to the days when they were young students at the renowned magic school. Reyna had been pregnant with Noah then, and as a son of the Alhiam family, Hilden was bound by duty and expectations. Reyna, from a nameless family, worked tirelessly to match his strength. Their clashing pride led to countless duels, a rivalry that gradually transformed into affection. Their families had fiercely opposed their bond, but they were young, defiant, and unwilling to let go of each other. He remembered one particular day when Reina approached him in the library. He had been reading basic texts, an introduction to fire and ice magic, the foundational arts every Alhiam heir was expected to master from childhood. She, however, was not concerned with his studies. She wanted to talk about the future, about the name of their unborn child. Hilden promised her he would think of something fitting. When he went to fetch the small notebook where he had scribbled ideas, he returned only to find her collapsed on the floor. At the hospital, the truth came crashing down on Hilden. Reina's body was too weak, her condition far too critical. No medicine, no healer, no doctor could save her. For a brief moment, she woke, her breath shallow, her words trembling. Hilden, desperate, promised her everything. He swore he had brought the best doctors, swore he would not let her go. He told her he had chosen a name for their child, Noah. Reina smiled faintly, and after giving birth to a beautiful boy, she slipped away quietly, leaving Hilden broken and alone with the weight of fatherhood. He wept bitterly, unable to process the loss. He was meant to love Noah as he loved Reina, to become the father she wanted him to be. But grief twisted into something darker. Noah, born with incredible magic power unlike anything Hilden had ever seen, became both marvel and curse in his eyes. He convinced himself that Reina had died because of this child, and to shield himself from unbearable pain, he projected his rage and guilt onto Noah. Rather than cherish him, Hilden sought to make him the strongest, a weapon that justified Reina's sacrifice. Yet in his heart, he had already blamed Noah for her death. Years passed, and when Noah was 5, an appraisal revealed his talent translation, a power far different from what Hilden had expected. That discovery shattered him. Memories long suppressed resurfaced. Every cruel act, every wound he had inflicted on Noah came rushing back. The mask of anger broke, and he saw himself for what he was, a father who had caused his son unspeakable suffering. Regret consumed him. He remembered everything: Reina, Noah, and the unbearable truth that Noah was his child. Alexia, who had stood by watching, was stunned. Recovery from memory erasure was believed to be impossible. Yet here was Hilden, remembering all on his own. Before the weight of this revelation could settle, the world shifted. The air grew heavy, silence swallowing the battlefield. The dark spirit had returned, its aura a tempest of chaos and destruction, eager to engulf everything in its path. It stared down Hilden, Noah, and Alexia with cruel delight, certain that this time, there would be no escape. Alexia and the others barely managed to dodge the dark spirit's first devastating strike. The monster laughed, mocking them for wasting its time. Alexia, already worn out, struggled to keep fighting. Hilden quickly grabbed Noah and tried to retreat, but Alexia leaped back into the air, determined to keep the dark spirit occupied. The spirit sneered at her, amused that she still thought she could pose any threat. Then it revealed something cruel. It claimed to be the very one that had killed her entire family. Hilden, meanwhile, faltered. Regret weighed heavily on him. He looked at Noah in his arms and wondered what he had been doing all this time. He had given his son nothing but pain, and even if he apologized, Noah might never forgive him. His heart whispered that maybe disappearing from this world was the only answer. Yet when the dark spirit ensnared Alexia and taunted her, saying that if she had let Noah die it might have spared her life, something within Hilden shifted. Alexia defied the spirit, insisting Noah would defeat it. The monster mocked her confidence, claiming Noah would never use the world book to kill it or the illusionary turtle, that such power was impossible. Then Hilden reappeared, staggering but resolute. He was ashamed, believing he had no right to live, yet he knew running now would only repeat the mistakes of the past. Mistakes that had cost Reina her life and placed all the blame on Noah. With tears falling, Hilden declared he would no longer run. For Reina's sake, he would live, and from this day forward, he would love Noah as he should have all along. The dark spirit, unimpressed, claimed it had no intention of wasting time fighting him. But Hilden's eyes burned with rage. He shouted that it had underestimated him, reminding it that he had once been called the strongest. He swore to burn the wretched creature with his flames. The spirit welcomed the challenge, daring him to try. Hilden raised his hand skyward, calling upon the eternal fire spirit to lend him its strength. As the spirit attacked, he pushed further, invoking the sun itself to grant him its burning power. With all his might, he cast meteor blaze. The sky darkened crimson, boiling with clouds and streaks of fire. Portals tore open above as blazing meteors poured through, massive and radiant, their fiery trails scorching the heavens. Each one slammed into the land with earth-shattering force, quaking the ground, boiling seas, and reducing forests to ash. Shockwaves tore the battlefield apart. Lava burst from fissures, and the world seemed aflame. The inferno raged like the end of days, a storm of destruction that drowned all sound in fire and ruin. When it ended, nothing remained but smoke and wasteland. Yet the dark spirit endured. It emerged from the destruction in a new, more terrifying form it had not taken for centuries. Hilden collapsed, drained of all strength. The monster advanced, closing in to finish them. But Noah appeared just in time, intercepting the attack with his own burst of power. His strike landed with crushing force, forcing the spirit back. Apologizing for his delay, Noah turned his eyes on the battlefield, confused. He asked if this was truly the same dark spirit they had been fighting before. Without pause, he launched a follow-up assault, his magic burning with resolve. Focusing his energy, Noah gathered it into a single, devastating strike against the illusionary turtle's massive shell. The ground shook, the air pulsed with a deafening hum, and his weapon blazed with elemental power. With one precise blow, he slammed the strike onto the turtle's shell. The impact cracked the air itself, shockwaves spreading outward. For the first time, the turtle's ever-shifting illusionary armor froze. Cracks spiderwebbed across its surface, glowing faintly as its defenses faltered. The turtle roared in pain, its illusions breaking down, pieces of its shell crumbling like shattered light. The beast's true form, fragile and vulnerable, revealed itself beneath. Noah had done the impossible. He had found the weakness, a way to finally damage the turtle's core with magic. Alexia and Hilden watched as the creature faltered, exposed at last. As the ground rumbled and stones fell around them, Noah turned to Alexia, telling her they would begin their counterattack after he carried his father to safety. Alright, that's a wrap for today. If you enjoyed the video, hit like. And if you're new here, sub before the algorithm forgets I exist. Drop your favorite moment in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.